Yeah. Let me drop exclusive game from my exclusive mind. You be out here chasing fame, I stay steady on my grind. Zero diamonds, zero.
Thank you for tapping into the Exclusive Minds podcast. Today we're going to be having an exclusive conversation with exclusive content from Exclusive Minds. I'm your host, Rook, and
Joe.
Let's get right into it.
We are back for episode 28. So this one is going to sound a little different. It's only me. It's a solo podcast. So my cohort Rook has actually graduated college. So that's actually the reason why this is coming late. We didn't get a chance to connect this weekend because he was actually graduating from Westchester. So congratulations. He's one step closer to the real world and having to make a living. Tough. But anyway. So we didn't connect, and thus I am taking a swing at doing a podcast solo. And man, let me tell you, this is super hard. It is just not as easy as when you're talking to somebody across the table. And for those podcasters who do this on a regular basis, where they're actually just doing a solo podcast, kudos to you. It is not easy. Clearly, this is probably something that needs to be very well planned out and thought out, and this isn't that. So I have a feeling it's going to be a total train wreck, but I figure I'd take a swing at it and see. Just put it up and whatever, right? That's kind of what this podcast has always been, is just sort of going with the flow and seeing how it all works out. So anyway, let me start off by giving a quick update on the clothing line, right? Exclusive Minds. And for those that don't know, you can reach us at exmnds.com, right? Exclusive Minds for the complete clothing line. We pretty much sold out of the hoodies completely, as well as the sweatpants. We did have a limited rerun of the sweatpants that we took orders until, I think it was Thursday of last week. And I can tell you that that is closed out. And we have the missing ones, those that place back orders, those sweatpants have been ordered, and we should have those in hand hopefully this week and to the printer this weekend, and then shipping out next week. So I think we promised that we would try and get those out to everyone by the end of May, and I'm hopeful that we will do that. So look forward to those. And we do have some additional stuff that will probably be coming out soon. Mainly t-shirts and summerwear. So look for that in the next couple weeks with some more details. I know that we actually did a print run of some tees that have been sitting in a box for a while, but we're going to add some additional things to that. Talking about maybe doing some tie-dye and some other stuff. We did tie-dye last year with the Social Butterfly collection, and I think we were talking about maybe repeating that. Still up in the air on that, but anyway, that's kind of the update on that. Sweatpants coming, hoodies pretty much all sold out. If you missed out, you're pretty much out of luck at this point. I don't think that we're going to be placing any more orders for hoodies or sweatpants given the time of the year. But we certainly are very, very pleased with the quality of the material as well as just the make. So we absolutely will be bringing these back in some way, shape, or form come fall. So this is going to be kind of our standard go-to. And I think we're actually going to be testing them out for t-shirts as well. The quality is so much better than what we had been getting. So hopefully, for those folks that have gotten them, send us some feedback. We'd love to hear it, what your thoughts are, either on Instagram, Facebook. Send us an email at team@exmnds.com and just let us know what you think of these new hoodies and the sweatpants themselves. And hopefully we hit the mark with these. We think we did. And again, we're always trying to improve. So that's kind of the update on that. Podcast behind the scenes, right? Obviously, this is the first attempt at a solo. I don't think that this is something I want to do on a regular basis. Again, I'm just kind of messing around. So it'll probably be a lot shorter than the typical hour that we go. If I make 20 minutes, I'll probably be pretty happy. So again, this isn't the norm. It's just because of college graduation and real life getting in the way. But we should be back. I think we're trying to target recording our next team podcast on Sunday, which, what's that, like the 19th? Anyway, so we'll be back to normal pretty much after this particular podcast. So no worries there. But I did want to just take a couple of minutes to look back at the previous 27 episodes. So it's kind of interesting. In my head, I was thinking, geez, I wonder how this podcast has been kind of going. I think that we've enjoyed doing it. There's no doubt about it, right? I don't think you sink 25 or 26 weeks into something, an hour at a shot and editing and all the other stuff, and do it because it's not enjoyable. So the good news is I think we're still enjoying doing it, so it'll probably continue. It's been a learning experience. I think very early on, right, we fully exposed the fact that we really had no idea what the hell we're doing. We just kind of bought some equipment and logged in and signed up for a couple of the podcasting things like Apple and Spotify, and just started dumping pretty much raw, very limited editing, and that has continued all the way through. Basically have just a kind of an edited intro and an outro, and everything that you hear during the podcast is just as it was recorded, right? I don't cut anything out, and we don't edit anything. It's partly because we don't really know how to edit stuff. But anyway, and, thinking about it, we originally started the podcast to really spend some time talking about generational differences between my age category being in the 50 plus and Rook's being in the, early 20s. And, I think for the most part, we've kind of stuck to a little bit of that. I mean, obviously, it was also about the clothing line and the brand. So I think we've kind of mixed and interweaved a lot of that, but I don't, I'm sure it comes across some of the generational differences, especially when we talk about crypto and NFTs and some of the other stuff. And then, of course, business. And I know Dave has bounced off some, questions with regards to work and experiences in life and stuff like that. I just don't know if it's been as consistent as we originally intended. Not that I think we need to change it, but maybe we'll try and pull some of that original mindset back into it and just talk about some of those generational differences. And when they do come up, focus a little bit more on them and kind of talk about it. Because I think that was originally why we wanted to do the podcast. It has been completely unscripted for all these 28 episodes. I think the very first couple, maybe the first or the second, we actually sort of mapped out some discussion points. And then after that, we each kind of jotted down some discussion points and brought them to the table without actually talking ahead of time to each other about that. And then it really, really kind of became very loose and free-flowing after that. And I think for the most part it's worked. We've kind of had some consistent themes. Obviously the crypto. And, I think we started to get heavy into UFC conversations and boxing. And some of that will obviously continue as well. So I don't know. Couple of updates around some of the stuff that we do regularly talk about, just to kind of keep that theme going. I saw that crypto has been pretty much continuing its tank, and I think today Bitcoin was right at 30,000, so it's actually kind of dead cat bounced a little bit, because I think it was down to like 27 or 28 at one point in the last week or so. So 30K. And for those that remember, my first entry into buying Bitcoin occurred when it was in the 65 plus K range. Luckily for me, it was a very, very small endeavor just to test the waters, and I'm glad I did, because it hasn't been pleasant. Decentraland, I think, is like at $1.20, and I bought in at $3.50. So yeah, that one's been a stellar success as well. Not much really to say there. I mean, it's been challenging for not only crypto, but for the stock market at large, right? So a lot of things going on there that could probably be a whole podcast genre, and very much is. So I won't really get into it. But yeah, I mean, the crypto, nothing really is going on the front other than we sort of invested and lost a lot of our money, and now we just bitch and complain about it as much as we can. So that's all good, and I'm sure everybody else is doing the same. I guess the other thing is sort of tied into this a little bit is the whole Elon Musk thing. I know we've been talking about that a lot, and I thought I'd just chime in again with another quick update. So for those that haven't been following, right, the deal is sort of on hold, pending the outcome, I guess, of some questions around how many legitimate registered users Twitter has, right? So apparently there is a ton of spam accounts in Twitter world. And I don't think this is a surprise to anybody, but it's just kind of interesting that Elon is kind of bringing light to it. And the roaches seem to all be scattering, trying to figure out how to answer the question. And so far, as of today, they're unwilling to actually share any of that data. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see. It's funny. I mean, weeks ago when this whole thing first started, I said there was no way that he was actually going to go through with the sale. And today I still believe that. I think he was doing it as the ultimate trolling. And, I guess at this point it would probably cost him quite a bit of money not to see it through. I heard there's like a $1 billion if he decides not to buy it, that he has to pay out as a fee for it. So at the end of the day, maybe he is willing to cough up some money to be the ultimate troll, because it is great, man. It's get the popcorn out and watch the news, because it is all every day something new with this. And this last thing is just incredible. I mean, he is just really lifting the kimono and just showing all of the problems with Twitter, and this real versus spam bot accounts is something that apparently is really legit, and a big question mark hanging over it from a number of fronts. And it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out, because it sets up the potential for a lot of legal challenges on both sides. It's kind of a mess. So it's really fun to watch. So we'll see where that goes. I still don't think he's going to end up buying it. I really don't. But you never know. I know for a fact it's not going to happen at the, whatever it was, 40 or 54 billion or $44 billion that $54.20 a share at $44 billion. That's not going to happen. I don't think there's any chance that's going to happen. So who knows? We'll keep in touch. But yeah, it's just entertaining. Social media is a charm. And with Trump entering with True Social and a whole bunch of alternative platforms, it is a very, very busy environment right now, with a lot of finger pointing and a lot of undue influence coming in from the outside. So it's kind of a mess, and I'm sure that'll be a talking point going forward. So I guess moving on, I managed to go see Doctor Strange. So I know we had a conversation about that, and Dave basically mentioned that he fell asleep during it. And I thought that was kind of funny until I saw the movie. And then I realized that he probably got the better end of the stick, because the movie sucked. Sorry. I'm a huge Marvel fan. And I did not like it. Look, it wasn't awful, right? I mean, it was 2 hours, and I watched it, and it was what it was. But it wasn't really all that good. I actually have a lot of serious concerns about Marvel movies moving forward. I've seen sort of the lineup, and I'm just like, oh God, I'm starting to wonder if really it's going to come off the rails and just sort of be a train wreck, and the days of these, Avenger movies and Iron Man movies are just over. We'll see. We'll let it all play out. I mean, I know the Spider-Man movie was really good. So, I mean, there's hope on that front. But yeah, this Doctor Strange movie just, I don't know, it just didn't work. It's kind of a mess. It's sort of all over the place. So, not looking forward to it. That's kind of the movie update. Sports update, NBA, don't care. So no update. NHL, don't care. No updates. Baseball. Does anybody watch baseball anymore? I mean, when's the last time anybody's actually watched a baseball game? I mean, honestly, share with me. I'm really curious, because it's got to be the most boring sport on the planet. What else is going on? There really isn't much going on in the UFC world. I guess it's to be seen what's going on. I guess McGregor might be in the mix coming up in the fall. But yeah, so that's it's been kind of dull. Soccer, I'm a huge soccer fan, but I'm not sure anybody else is. So that's the English Premier League season's coming to a close. It's been kind of a disastrous year for myself as a Manchester United fan. And again, I don't, not sure how many people really care about soccer, but I do. So anyway, it's been a very painful year, and it'll be over this weekend and move on to the summer and some of the national tournaments and stuff. So that'll be kind of fun, and I'll definitely be watching that stuff. And, one other thing. So I know I talk a lot about Elden Ring, right? And most people probably don't care. It's a video game, but it does talk about those generational differences, and it's incredibly frustrating. So out with family for Mother's Day, a week ago. And one of my nephews plays Elden Ring, and we're talking about. I said, "Oh yeah, I'm playing it. And I'm having a good time playing it, and I'm struggling with some whatever, talking about it." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I finished in 5 hours." I'm like, "What?" so I mean, honestly, I have put way more than 5 hours into it, and I still suck completely, and I'm probably mid pack of kind of completing it, and I'm like. This is insane. Like, what am I missing, right? And I'm playing, and I'm just still getting nuked by all the, even the lesser bosses in the game are still just whooping my ass. And so I don't know, man. It was one of those things where I got home and I was like, man, am I wasting my time playing this, or am I enjoying it? And the debate is open, and it's still open for conversation. I'm not really sure. I mean, yeah, I enjoy playing it, but then when I realize I'm not progressing at the pace that these youngsters are, it drives me completely bananas. And maybe it's a little bit of that competitive nature, even though I'm not directly competing with anybody and there's, no prize at the end of it. I'm just like, damn, I'm not doing this right. So, it's kind of frustrating. Who knows, though? These guys are probably all using hacks and cheats, and they're teaming up with 6 of their other friends to beat up everything while I'm trying to do everything solo, like this podcast. So, I don't know. Not pleasant. It just drives me crazy because I just clearly am not as skilled and adept at these video games as I once was in the days past. And the complexity is just really beyond belief when it comes to setting up the controller and just doing all the moves and stuff like that. In the days of past, right, you hit 2 buttons and you pretty much played a game. Now it's like 16 different combinations just to kind of get through the basics. And then it gets even more complex after that. So it's challenging for the older crowd. Trying to think what else is going on. Man, I'm under 20 minutes. It's only like 17, and I'm not even sure it's going to be worth putting up. Anyway, this is the exact reason why you need to kind of have it scripted out so that when you get to a point where you're sort of having a brain freeze on what to talk about next, you've actually got something to talk about. I don't know. So let's see. That's about all I got. Yeah, I mean, we covered it all. Yeezys. I think I mentioned I scored a pair of 450s and got those. So then they turned out to be yellow. So I think that was one of the things we talked about is when I ordered them, I think the pictures showed what I thought was a tan. The description said green. And the shoes themselves are clearly yellow. So kind of an interesting experience. And then I just won the slides, the black slides. I think there were black, tan, and yellow. I already had the tan, so I didn't put in for those. I put in for the blacks and the yellows. Did not win the yellows, and I did win the blacks, or at least what I think will be blacks. So it's always kind of interesting when you open the box and you're not even really sure what the hell color you got. But so my Easy string has been kind of on fire the last couple weeks, which is perfect, just in time for summer. So now I've got 450s in darks and lights, and I'm pretty happy about those because I absolutely love those shoes, which, I think everybody probably knows at this point who listens to the podcast. And so I mean, on the podcast itself, please like, subscribe, share. If you can do that on all the services that we're on currently, which today is Spotify or Anchor. I think it's one and the same. We're up on Apple Podcast, and then we do have a YouTube channel that has basically the audio version up on YouTube, and then it also is synced on Rumble. The YouTube feed is synced on the Rumble. And so if you like us or subscribe to us on any of those platforms, that would be great. Quite frankly, we don't have a lot of listeners. I don't think that's really any surprise. It's a very crowded space, and keeping people's attention for an hour is a commitment that we absolutely appreciate for those that do listen through. But please like and share, and that'll get you all of the latest and greatest from the two of us, not just me. Again, this is really just likely a one-off. And so Carfront, still waiting on my Hummer EV. Nothing really new there. What else do we normally talk about? This is where I usually bounce it over and get some feedback, and there's no feedback coming, so I'm twiddling my thumbs trying to remember what the hell else we talk about on a regular basis. Anyway, I guess I'll just call it a day. It's a little under 20 minutes, and I'll put it up. I mean, look, it's it's kind of a train wreck like I thought it would be. But what the hell? If anybody listens to it and you want to trash on me, hey, have at it. But we will be back on Sunday or early next week with a tandem cast, and obviously we'll get back to it, try and focus in a little bit more on some of those things. And so that's it. I appreciate everyone's time, and thanks for giving me a shake on a solo effort. And be kind. I appreciate that. Later, all. Thanks.
Yeah. Let me drop exclusive game from my exclusive mind. You be out here chasing fame, I stay steady on my grind. 0 diamonds, 0 chains, from my brain is where I shine. Hit you with them good lyrics, I ain't writing and I'm dying. And right now I'm alive, so check it. I reckon I shouldn't cuss on this record. I don't cuss on them often because I'm applying pressure. Grab that fire grind. 0 diamonds, 0 chains, from my brain is where I shine. Hit you with them good lyrics, I ain't writing and I'm dying. And right now I'm alive, so check it. I reckon I shouldn't cuss on this record. I don't cuss on them often because I'm applying pressure. Grab that fire from my dresser. EXM, who does it better? No, I won't let up. Gas pedal fully pressed, I do the dash to the checks. If it ain't assets, I'm never stressed. I keep it calm and collect. Most of y'all stuck in some debt, and you got bad credit. I learned my lesson, I was young and foolish, now I'm better. I kept my head up through the stormiest weather. Wipe my eyes and focused on where I'm headed. We call that constant progression. If we in Vegas and the option is betting on me, you know we cashing out to the teller. Now let me switch my endeavor, change up my whole approach. Let's have a toast to those who do the most. Achieving goals on the road to their dreams, on the path to the cream, counting stacks with their team, living lavishly, but still actively aware that they can be a casualty. So they don't lack humility and they don't dabble with the greed. Yes, they focused on the plan ahead. They know impact will lead to bread, and the bread equals success and less frets. Got some things to accomplish. When someone hits my line, it's not about some nonsense. We making moves, always grinding, we popping. You know we not gonna stop, and never no option but time, and the perfect time is right now. Not caught up in tomorrow. I'm all about making a conscious decision while I'm living. Make a choice, then I'm committed to that vision. I pivot if necessary. It's scary when you get caught in a position that isn't hitting you down bad because your persistence in the wrong direction. Just learn your lesson, you gotta check it. Audit you and keep on getting better. That's the motive, that's the method, and I'm headed further than I ever thought I could make it. I wouldn't stop unless my pulse flat lines like the doctor lost his patience.